guys. Hope you're well on this fine Sunday evening, May 20th. And I just want to have a quick discussion on the S&P and as well as, price action and all that stuff. So I'm opening this to the general public as opposed to just the clients of Equity Sense. So, if you're just a price action kind of trader, you'd probably be very, very cautious over the last few days, considering we're basically narrowing, right? And that meant that it could go either way. For the people who really just who are really well versed in candlesticks, you're probably thinking this was a fake breakout. We're probably gonna go lower with this really huge red candle. We're gonna go back to this. And then there's going to be some of you who are thinking, no, this is probably just another fake, retest of a low, and then we're going to go higher. But that's what makes a market, right? There's always going to be there's always going to be people with differing opinions, and one of them will win. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's always who has the most money who will win. So this is where we're at, right? So on Friday we were at 27.12, and now we're at 27.30. So we basically are up close to $20 or 20 cents, 20 points, I mean, on the S&P. So what's the point of this discussion, right? The fact is that if you're just a price action kind of person, you need to really expand your horizons because you never know what kind of news could drop, right? I don't believe that news is definitely noise. News that drives this market, right? Everything coalesces. News, price action, technicals, even the fundamentals, they all coalesce to drive price to a direction that makes people whatever happy or whatever. So um, I'm sure if those of you who have the MACD and the RSI, because that's always been the fan favorite for traders, you'll probably see also they both don't look like they're pointing to the downside, right? So I'm not saying that you should be using those. I don't use the MACD and the RSI. I think they give a lot of false signals. Again, for me anyway. And I'm not trying to say that everybody uh, is using them and using them wrongly. If they work for you, fantastic. God bless you. Um, but again, I just don't make it work for me. I can't make it work for me. So I'm happy trading. Just you know um, a blank chart without any indicators and making everything kind of work with respect to what's happening in the market. So it's really dangerous to just rely on one thing when you're trading, right? And I think that's one of the things that I see a lot in people that they don't understand the fundamentals. They don't want to do the math for sure, and they can't keep up with the news because they could be very busy with their families, their lives, whatever. There's always something, right, that keeps us busy. So they stick to technicals, and technicals give them an avenue of simplicity, right? They just look at candles. They look at if you're not, they just look at the chart. I mean, if you're not using candlesticks, and they can figure out, okay, this means it's supposed to go up, this means it's supposed to go down, and that's how I'm gonna trade it. But that's the thing, you need to understand one simple theory about trading, and that is um, overall, when you're trading, the market takes into account everything, right? And that's what it does, and it moves with that, right? It doesn't just care about price action, it doesn't care about um, the news only. And there will be times when one overpowers the other, and that's fair, but and that's what makes trading so difficult for a lot of people, because I think it's got to do with the way all of us go through the educational system, right? We're used to finding things black and white or discrete, right? We know, up is up and down is down, and that's supposed to be how it is. Like gravity is gravity, it pulls us down. But when it comes to trading, sometimes things just get changed. You get conflicting theories, you get contradicting concepts and principles, and that's what makes people so confused. So, um, whenever we say that you need to simplify your trading, simplification means that you figure out what makes sense to you and you trade it that way, right? If you've been trading and it's been going well, just using technicals for you and not having a lot of pain, then maybe that is how it is. But I have never met a person who's only a technical trader who has never had any losses. Moreover, I've never met a person who only trades technicals who have been able to successfully predict, a possible news event, right? Because again, these news events are very emotional, very, very, very parabolic, and you have to, you gotta be careful. So with a lot of things happening, like I said, in the market, most people tend to just kind of figure out, I'm going to stay with this because it's easier for me. You have to figure out what makes sense to you, but at the same time, you also need to understand that not everything is just in the charts. You may believe it is, and again, if that's been working for you and that's made you a millionaire, then yeah, forget what I'm saying. But if you've been struggling, right, just thinking, well, the technicals don't work, or I read this book and it's still not helping me, well, then that basically tells you exactly what's missing in your trade, right? That other aspect that you need to understand as to what drives the market, because the market has so many factors: news, fundamentals, geopolitics, politics, socioeconomic data, and all that stuff. And of course, combine that with technical setups, price movement, and of course, remember that most of the time we're not even run by normal people anymore. We are actually, the market is being run by machines who or that don't really care about what's really happening in the market or in the world. So it really is, it brings home that idea that a lot of people are struggling, and there's a lot of people who actually stop trading altogether because they've lost so much money in the market. So, if you're a new trader for 2018, I hope you're learning very quickly how dangerous this market can be if you rely on one thing. There's a lot of people who were caught off guard, in the first month of the year. They were buying this up, and then suddenly, boom, they got killed. And you got to be very careful, right? I think one of the things that's important is I got a friend who, we traded Tesla, and we were able to, go long around this part because, Tesla was going up. So that friend made about, I think, what, 60, $70,000 just going long Tesla, right? So that person reinvested it around this part here, and then now it went back down. So he lost about 20 or 25. Now, of course, he's asking me if it's going to go back up. I mean, you probably have an idea already as to where Tesla could go. But that's my point, is that this market can give you wins. Don't get me wrong. The market can definitely give you wins. But it's a matter of keeping those wins is going to be the biggest challenge for you, right? Because that person who's up 60 grand could have easily bought, I don't know, a Model S or something and be happy. But instead, it took the 60 grand, put it back, and reinvested it, probably thinking he's going to make more. And then at this point, he was probably up, and then now he's back down. So that's what I'm trying to say, that making money, whatever system you use, whatever trading technique you use, the market at the end of the day, right, will always give you a 50% chance of winning. So basically a coin flip. But if you're on the right side of that coin, you make money. But how you're able to keep that money is going to be the challenge, right? And I think that's sort of where everything kind of boils down to, right? Well, what it boils down to, that you need to understand what it is you're trading, and you need to understand that price is not everything. It is a big component, but it's not everything. And if you've been led to believe that price is everything, and you've been not doing well with the market, you probably need to, reorganize your priorities or reorient yourself with your trades, because the last thing you want is to lose a lot of money, and then you end up not having any more money to trade, and then you start swearing off the market, right? So the market will always be the market. It will always invite a lot of people, but ultimately, most people will have to understand or realize that it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be that simple. A lot of people will think, oh, learn the technicals, learn the books, and you'll be fine. You'll know how to trade. It doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always work that way, and that's the thing. That's a challenge for everybody in that. So I hope this has helped you at least in understanding that there's a lot of things happening in this market, and you need to be aware with whatever it is you trade. Right? Keeping it simple means that you find things that work for you, and stick with that and have the discipline to do so. Keeping it simple doesn't mean you only learn how to trade technicals and that's it. That's not how to keep it simple, because if you know that something is affected by this and that, why would you disregard that and ignore all the other factors, right? That's the key point there. Okay, so hope you had a good weekend. You know, have a profitable week ahead of you. Remember, it's gonna be a long weekend next weekend, so it'll be shortened for next week, but not this week. So take care and